firki.co directed to the website. To register on Firki, fill in a brief registration form. You can also sign in through your Google account. You will have to use your email ID in order to create an account on our website. This account is again free to create and use. Once you create your account and log in with your credentials, you will be directed to the dashboard. The dashboard would have notifications related to your profile, course progress, time spent, and your Firki discussion groups. To access different pedagogical courses, you can click on the courses link on the top left of the screen. The courses page allows you to choose courses based on difficulty level and category. The courses are also available in different regional languages. Feel free to browse the different courses we have in our catalog using the search bar above. Each Firki course is designed using the FITS model that stands for Feel, Imagine, Do, and Share. The Feel section of the course helps you identify your current practices. The Imagine section defines the practices that one should follow to improve teaching and learning outcomes. A detailed description of strategies are highlighted under the Do section that one can implement in the classroom and with their students. At last, the Share section talks about ways in which one can share their learnings with each other. Each course has also a set of reflection questions as part of the assessment section. Along with the course material, each Firki course also contains a learning circle plan and journal pages. A learning circle plan helps the coaches and mentors conducting the offline learning circles to discuss and share learnings from the course. A journal page summarizes the course with important points. We are adding new courses every month, so keep watching this space. Next up, we have the webinars page that is also accessible from the top left of the screen. On this page, you will find information about the upcoming webinars. If you scroll down, you will find a bunch of resources from our older webinars. These resources will include video recordings of the webinar itself, notes from the webinar, the presentation used by our speaker, and other resources on the topic covered. Do feel free to browse this section at your leisure. The final page to look out for is the resources page, also to be found at the top left corner of your screen. This page houses and will house resources from several of our partner organizations, such as the British Council, Khan Academy, Storyweaver, Pratham Books, and more. We are in the process of adding to the list, and you can easily filter resources by partners, grades or standard, and the subject of instruction. We hope you find value in using these resources in your practice as teachers and educators. Finally, you can find the Firki app on the Play Store and can access these courses, resources, and webinars through your phone. So download our app and stay connected to teaching and learning on the go.
I hope the video helped you in knowing more about Firki. If you have any questions around any of the features highlighted in the video, please write to us at contactfirki@teachforindia.org. The link to the same will be pasted in the chat window shortly. With that, let's move on to the webinar at hand today. Thank you for taking the time to join us in this discussion. In designing this and other webinars throughout the year, the Firki team is hoping that we can disseminate meaningful knowledge and skill that takes us closer to our goal of improving the quality of education in Indian classrooms. In today's webinar, YouCANHELP will provide lessons in digital wellness, digital citizenship, and digital leadership. They will also provide step-by-step lessons for students, teachers, counselors, resource officers, librarians, and media specialists. Give educators and students the tools to be proactive online and offline. Provide all participants the tools to handle tough or awkward situations, both online and in person. Now let me introduce the speakers for the day. We have with us today Kim-KER, co-founder, curriculum developer, and leadership trainer. Kim was a middle school teacher for 13 years and co-founded YouCANHELP in 2013. Kim now gives students a voice by speaking full-time, developing curriculum, and offering leadership training. Kim is continuously working to make the world a better place and empower youth. can show students and adults to use technology and social media for good. I Can Help, an effective outcome-based program, has received recognition from Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees and major tech companies like Google, Twitter, and Facebook. I Can Help is known for minimizing campus issues related to social media. Kim has presented the I Can Help program to over 450,000 students, trained school leaders to train 1.5 million students, and has been instrumental in taking down 1,000 negative social media sites. We also have with us Mallory Bernazian, lead intern at I Can Help. Mallory was a 2018 Digital for Good winner, part of the 2019 student internship program, and is now I Can Help's lead intern. She's a junior at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and is working towards a degree in journalism and media studies. Mal is I Can Help's biggest cheerleader. She believes in the power of social media constantly works to foster the I Can Help family and challenges them to dream big. Mallory works very closely with the co-founder, Kim-KER. That brings us to the norms for the webinar today. In this webinar, please use the raise hands feature if the speaker asks a question. One of us will unmute you so that you can answer. Please keep typing your questions in the Q&A box and responding to others in the chat box. Do remember that learning new things is often difficult, but challenge yourself and reflect on your thinking and experiences today. The best way to remember something is to write or discuss it with others, so do take some notes throughout the webinar. The webinar will be recorded and will be available on YouTube and the Firki website soon. This brings me to the end of my introduction. Thank you. I hope that you all have a very interesting evening. Over to our speakers now. Kim and Mallory, you can continue now.
All right, yes. I'm loving to see where everyone's from. It's so fun to see all that. Thank you for the introduction. Thanks for having us too. Yeah, let me make sure I can get this up.
Yes, thank you so much. The chat's been really fun to follow.
You're welcome.
Right.
All right, awesome. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Becoming a Digital Leader. My name is Mallory. I'm the lead intern for I Can Help, and I am a junior at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. As a student, we are part of the solution. Technology is used more now than it ever was before, and we as students, we're not the future, we are the right now. And in order to make this happen, we need to bridge together with adults and come together with technology to make a huge digital impact. So that's where we are able to partner with incredible adults like Kim to come together and walk side by side as students and adults to make a positive impact. So I'm here with Kim. Kim-KER, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mallory. Yeah, and I was a teacher for 13 years and just kept seeing issues online. There was students would come up to me with awkward situations, inappropriate situations, and never knew how to deal with it. And so I just started teaching them how to handle it. And started helping be the voice for students so that they can start understanding and, trying to bridge the gap between companies like Twitter and Facebook to be able to get them to help them understand and get it to be student-friendly words. The goal today is to truly demo how we actually speak to students so you can actually see it. We'll actually demo some of our lessons and give you some free curriculum to be able to take back to, train some students and even adults on how to become digital leaders. That's kind of our goal. Please drop any questions or, if you have any questions in there, we'll be able to kind of pause and answer that. And then at the end, we'll also be able to answer questions. So that's what our goal is to be able for you to see it live, how we speak to them, how we kind of make the magic happen, because we truly at I Can Help are making a difference on everything with the students.
So as a nonprofit organization, we celebrate youth innovation, empower student changemakers, and promote digital safety in order to make a huge difference.
And this is kind of how it got started, was when I was teaching at my middle school. Someone made a fake Facebook page, and one of the teachers at my school, it went on for 2 weeks. It had over 1,000 followers. people kept making all kinds of inappropriate, rude, cruel kind of messages. And no one's reported it until 2 weeks. Finally, one student came to me saying what was going on. And we had, they were scared to turn it in. They felt like they're going to be made fun of. I'm like, you probably are, but you're going to find out who your real friends are and who your real friends aren't. So once we were able to get that taken down, I started asking them like, hey, why'd this happen to this, this teacher? They go, oh, we don't really like this teacher. There's a lot of students who don't like him. And I'm like, sometimes I don't like my brother, but that doesn't mean how you treat them is so important. Like, that's a real human. Would you ever want anyone to do this to you? So just starting having that conversation of like, this is a real person behind the screen, and we need to treat others like we want to be treated. Going back to that golden rule of, basic humanity. So once we had that conversation, that kind of came up a year later, because they didn't know how to deal with it. I said, if this happened again, this is what you need to do. So unfortunately, a year later, someone made a fake Instagram page in the exact same teacher, but this time, instead of it going on for 2 weeks, it was shut down in 45 minutes. This time, instead of it having 1,000 followers, it actually had no followers. There were over 30 students who went on here like Ethan and says, hey, I'm gonna let Courtney, your school secretary, know. Hey, this is not cool. There was 30 students who actually respectfully commented. That's the reason why it was taken down so fast. They learned how to be what we call digital first responder there. And teens today, this is now, I'm sure this data is going to be changing after this year, but 92% of teens are online on a regular basis.
And there's been a 200% increase in suicide in teens 10 to 14, and it's actually the second leading cause of death.
Yeah, and some states it actually has moved up to #1 now, and the only thing that's beating it is accidents. But 48% of teens don't turn to adults for help. So this is the reason why we're trying to bridge that gap with adults and students. They turn to their peers.
Yeah, 40% of teens turn to their friends for help with problems online, which is why it's so important that we train students to be digital first responders so they can help their peers.
And we really believe in that peer-to-peer kind of connection is what's been working. So 39% of teens receive some sort of online harassment in last year.
And 37%, there's been a 7% increase in anxiety and depression.
I mean, think about it. I mean, actually put it in the chat if you can. How many of you here have sent a text message to the wrong person before? So put a yes if you've ever sent a text message to the wrong person. How about how many of you guys are in a group chat and it's like kind of blown up and you're like, and you kind of freak out, right? So type in yes in the chat if these things have happened to you. So all these things are creating, yeah, right there they are. All these things are definitely creating anxiety in these teens. So a lot of them aren't understanding how to deal with that stress. When a group chat goes off or you send a text message to the wrong person, it builds that anxiety and they don't know how to handle those situations.
Yes, definitely. When it comes to anxiety and depression, we can look at what a day in the life of a teenager can really be like. This is Bailey. She's a teenager. She's getting ready for school. She's feeling great. She's snapping a selfie because she loves her outfit today, feels like she got dressed up, feels fabulous about it, posted on Snapchat. As the day goes on, she's going through her social media and she sees this photo that somebody had posted. And this wasn't the first time this has happened to her. It's happened multiple times. And not a single student jumped in and asked her if she was okay or asked if she needed help. And more importantly, look at that name on the top left. Nobody ever contacted Dylan and asked if they could take the photo down or asked why he was doing it. No one stood up for Bailey, which is just why students are having such a big increase in anxiety and depression. Their peers aren't standing up for them and stepping in when they need it. So since no one asked Bailey if she was okay, no one got the photo taken down, Bailey then had to text her mom and ask her mom if she could bring her clothes to school. So you can see this text message from her. And she says, Mom, can you bring me t-shirts and jeans, please? I need to change. People are making fun of me. They're posting photos on Snapchat. And her mom's able to get there in 7 minutes. That way Bailey can change. Not every student has access to that. Not every student is going to be able to have their parents bring them clothes and be able to step in. And that's why we need to train students to be digital first responders. Not a single person stood up for Bailey or asked if she was okay. And that's not okay. We need students that are standing up for one another because we're a community and we need to make a positive impact and make sure that our fellow peers are doing okay. And that's why students are part of the solution.
So once they get trained by being a digital first responder, this has been the data that we've collected, is that in the past year, 10 students have reported some kind of threats to schools after they've gotten trained to be digital first responders.
And the suicide threats are now being reported to trusted adults as well.
And then, yes, we actually have gotten taken down over 1,500 negative sites. I actually took one down last night, was another one, so just keep adding to the numbers.
And we're seeing a ton of more positive content being created online. And we're definitely going to show you some examples later of different ways that you can post positive content online as well. So with students posting positive content and standing up for each other, we're being part of the solution. So as an organization, we really were able to expand this year and find more students to walk alongside of adults. So we have over 56 specialists and interns from all over our country and all over the world. So we have student interns from 17 different states and 4 different countries. And we have over 150 student volunteers. With that, we actually have 20 mentors that are always with our committee calls, and they're working with our students one-on-one. So some examples of different mentors that our students are able to work with are one of my mentors, she works at Twitter in New York City. So they work at these big tech companies and they just want to see students be part of the solutions. They get involved with us. If you're interested in getting involved with us or want to be on our social media and want to be involved in our organization, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat as well, because we definitely need some more international interns and specialists too.
And then here's some more data, and I know somebody asked about where that's coming from. So this one's coming from the National Survey of Children's Health. But yes, 1 in 5 kids has some kind of mental illness, but 5 out of 5 humans and people have mental health. So we really feel like this is so important to start having conversations. It shouldn't be about mental health and digital wellness. It shouldn't just be their counselors and their health teachers. It should be all their educators in their lives. So no matter what subject you should be teaching, you should be talking about their digital wellness, about their mental health.
Yes, and there's been a 37% increase in teen depression and anxiety, as we said earlier. And that's why it's so important that we're also having those peer-to-peer conversations and training our students to be able to respond to one another.
And there has been a 43% increase in ADHD, and I know that number is actually increasing. Think about the time that they're spending, and they want shorter content is what they're wanting, and their attention spans. And they're usually having multiple things open at one time.
Absolutely. And there's been a 50% increase in teens that are addicted to a device. And I definitely think that's increasing, especially right now. If you think about the amount of teenagers you might interact with on a day, I know I never put my phone down. It's always on me.
Yeah. And I think that's what we need to kind of figure out, is just teaching them that balance of the digital wellness, right? Like, yes, this is what's now expected of you, but then how can we balance that out? We're going to get to some, we'll get to some answers here in a little bit too. So, but yeah, like Mallory mentioned before, it is the #2 cause of death in the United States now is suicide for the ages of 10 to 24-year-olds. And I think a lot of it, there's no data yet because it's super hard to kind of how to do that, but it is a lot of the comparing. When I'm hearing the case studies from the people who have it, it's a lot of the comparing. They're seeing people's lives online and seeing like, oh, they have it so great, when they're not actually talking about their emotions and not having that conversation. So we just need to be able to get to that point of educators and students and start having that conversation with people. So we did team up with Wellbeing Trust and then Providence, which Providence is a big health provider in Oregon. So we teamed up with them because they saw that we were bridging the information to students in the best way possible. So we made curriculum. It is free. I'm going to have Mallory is going to drop the link in there. And what happens, I'm actually going to switch this over to this presentation. So this is actually on this website. So if you go to the website she dropped into the chat, worktobewell.org, you can go to there and there's all kinds of free curriculum. There are 4 PowerPoint presentations for the mental health component. This is one of them. This one is about emotional self-care and mindfulness. There's one about stress, anxiety, and depression. And then the last one is about what we call ECPR, emotionally connect, partner, and respond. So if a student is telling their peer that they're suicidal or that they're cutting themselves or they're depressed or anxiety, it's teaching the students how do they need to connect with them, how do they partner with them, how do they respond, right, to those kind of difficult situations. So that's what it does. So this is one of them. This is my favorite one to do, and I honestly think everyone should be, every educator and even every student should be doing it, because it really is going back to the basics. When they're feeling anxiety, when they're feeling depressed, when they're feeling lonely or isolated, it's going back to the basics. So let's have a little fun. We'd love for when you participate. So just like if you cut yourself, right, if you accidentally cut yourself and you're bleeding, you know to go to your first aid kit to go get a Band-Aid. So same thing, what do you do if you're emotionally hurting? You need to go make an emotional first aid kit. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build your emotional first aid kit. So the first thing in your emotional first aid kit is sound. This is my favorite. What's that song that you love to, you love to hear, to play when you need to wake up? Like this, I actually had to wake up at 4 a.m. this morning to get myself pumped up to be able to come and talk to you today. So go ahead and drop in the chat. I'd love to hear some of your favorite songs that you like to hear. So you can drop that in the chat, because I'm telling you, it's one of those things that just hearing one song can just totally change the outcome. So let's hear some of your answers while I queue up. Like this morning, I was like, I got to get something kind of going. Mallory, what's your go-to song?
Oh, I have so many, but if you're familiar with JoJo Siwa, we love her. Kim actually had me do karaoke to her one time, but she's just really inspiring to teens and young adults, and I just think she's awesome. So that's one of our I Can Help big hype songs.
I love it. And look, we got Ed Sheeran. Perfect. Yes, it's such a good song. There we go. Right.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Hey, dude. That is so amazing. Right. Yeah. See, loving the comments. It really is like, think about what that song is that will just hype you up. What's that song that you can kind of go to? And do you have a playlist? I have a certain playlist that I go to when I'm working. I have a certain playlist when I am kind of feeling low and I need to get back pumped up. Right. And then I have a playlist that is just kind of relaxing, right? To kind of go back to be mindful. So, oh yeah, there you go. Happy by Pharrell. Yes. So it is just kind of, turning music completely can change, what you're doing. And so it is, oh, here we go. This is a song for you. It's one of those things that just one click, right? And sorry, I'm getting this queued up for you. Here, she said JoJo, so we gotta, maybe we'll get her to dance. Here's some JoJo. If you don't know JoJo, you need to know some JoJo.
That's been hyping myself up in the morning. It's so fun.
It's just fun, right? And so if you can, when you're teaching the students, even if you can play a song when they're walking into your room or walking in on your webinar, right? Like your class, I've set up, I've given some of my friends some songs that they can play. And then I had them even have the students fill out a Google form, and then even teach them that they can even look up the lyrics to make sure it's appropriate for school. So simple things that you can do for that.
Absolutely. And Kim, I love that you mentioned that you could do that to walk into your classroom, and also that every class could have an emotional first aid kit. And if somebody had asked, what about like math classes? I definitely still think you could absolutely have a hype song when students walk in, or even on a test day, to help relieve some anxiety. But what are some sites that make you happy? What are some of those images that really create a happy library for you? It might be a tropical ocean full of fish, or it might be one of your best friends. So let's think about all of our phones. What's your background on your phone screen? Is it something that makes you happy? Is it something that makes you feel good? Drop it in your chat, or drop it in the chat. Let us know what the background on your phone is. I know mine is my mom and myself, and it makes me so happy to see every day when I wake up. But that's a great way when you're feeling anxious, feeling depressed. When you see a photo that makes you happy, it really, really fills you with love on the inside, especially. Loving it. Looking at birds, greenery, night sky, motivational quotes. Those are so awesome. Yeah, great ideas. And those will truly put a smile on your face and make you feel good. Awesome. A night sky, sunrise. I love these.
Yes. Perfect. And then the third one in the self-care kit is touch. what brings you comfort? Like I love our I Can Help shirts because they're so soft. Like Mallory's like, you wear them daily, don't you?
Oh, I wear them every single day. I have them so many colors now.
Yeah, because they're just soft. They bring comfort, right? There's just something about it. But then some people have like a necklace that they have to wear, or there's certain kind of jewelry. They like weighted blankets in the United States right now are such a huge hit because it just brings comfort. It feels like you're getting hugged. I actually bought kinetic sand is what I bought myself just because I was getting stressed out while I was working so much. So now I have it by my desk so I can kind of grab it and play with it when I need a little de-stress moment. So go ahead and drop in the chat. What are some things, and everybody, how many people, anybody get a pet during quarantine? Like everybody, I feel like everybody got a pet.
Yeah, someone said hugging the loved ones and my pet. That's so awesome. Yeah, I know for me, I love to hold something. Even when we're doing these presentations, I hold something soft and I just rub it between my fingers the whole time, and it helps calm me down and makes me feel less anxious.
Go ahead, show it off. It's okay.
Oh, I have a white little blanket and I hold it in my hand the whole time, and I just rub it between my fingers and it helps me calm down and stay less stressed.
Yep.
Exchanging greetings and smiles. It's so awesome. And I'll think of a smell. So I know for me, I love to diffuse essential oils, and it makes me feel so happy and calmed and relaxed, especially on a test day or when I'm trying to sleep or when I just need to take a mental health break. But for you, it might be the smell of fresh pineapple, or it might be the smell of the ocean. So let us know what's one smell that makes you feel good, or it might be whatever candle your family used to light growing up. It might be something like that that you just remember. So when you smell it, it brings back a certain memory. Coffee, I love that
always.
one. Yes, once I smell coffee in the morning, I can get up. Lavender, yeah, I diffuse lavender every single night. Peacock feather feeling touch. That's so awesome. Wow. Yeah, these are great ideas.
And it's really fun to hear it from students. I've had several students be like, I love fresh grass. So then after we talked about it, they went and put it in like a little plastic bag and carried it around with them. Or another student really liked working out, so he went to the football field and got like the AstroTurf from the football field and put that in a baggie to like be able to help. That's he's like, I got my emotional first aid kit in a bag. So it's this kind of thing that this is whatever can help them to kind of bring back the anxiety and kind of get them back on, back to the basics. This is all pieces that can help them. And then humans, who are the humans that make you feel better? Go ahead and shout out who's a coworker, especially being a teacher. Who's that coworker you can go to right now when you're stressed out being a teacher? Because man, I feel so like my teacher friends are still sending me messages. Like, should I try to help them as much as possible? So shout that coworker out that you can go to. Who's someone that is in your, in your squad that you go to vent, to be able to have that sometimes awkward conversations. I call one of my friends and I'm like, listen, I just need 4 minutes. I give it a time. I need 4 minutes for I just can vent. And literally after 4 minutes, I'm done and I can move on. So I think it's so important to be able to have this. And this piece right here is what also students need to hear. They need to be able to say out loud, this is my person I need to go to. Yeah.
All right, so what can you do to take action? What's something for you that helps you calm down, helps you de-stress, get rid of any anxiety that you might be feeling? For me, I love to do yoga and I love to dance. But what's something that you can do that will help you calm down and get anything out of your brain that's making you feel anxious? Kim, do you have one that you like to do?
Oh, I work out every morning. That's my go-to.
And take action could be multiple things. It could be checking in on somebody. If you have somebody that you call every single day, or we always talk about the importance, especially while we're at home, at checking in on one another and having every student have somebody else that they can contact every day to check in with and see how they're doing.
Awesome. And I love their answers. Yoga, take a shower, pray, meditation. Awesome. Yeah, those are all ways. And again, you want to be able to show the students what you're doing so that they can then model that as well.
Yeah, these are awesome.
And then this is just a summary of all 6 of them all together. So right there, now they would just then create it. So again, this is on the Work to Be Well website. This PowerPoint is on there. There's 4 of them up there. And make sure you go check out it's stress, anxiety, and depression, and ECPR. So those are the 4 that are there. So I want to make sure you had that. I'm really proud of that work. We're now working on grief and self-harm. Relationships are the next 3 models that we're creating. And then from that, what we have done is then we try to get that same curriculum, we try to then tie it to social media. So Mallory, do you want to explain this one?
Yes, absolutely. So this is something that our students made in the spring. And so what they did was you get this blank one where it's your emotional first aid kit, and we posted it on our Instagram story. And then students then screenshotted it and then inserted a GIF or a photo or a text of what their sight, smell, touch, humans, and ways that they take action were. So it went pretty viral. So what students were able to do is at the end, they're able to tag their friends and figure out what their friends feel. And first of all, it's a great way to get students involved thinking about these things, but it's also a great way for our peers to understand one another and know, like, oh, if my friend's feeling anxious, you know, maybe we should grab a cup of coffee, or maybe we should go sit by the beach, anything like that. But this is super easy, something that you can do in your classroom as well as on any social media that you have for your school, for your leadership classes, anything like that too.
And then this is what another school did. They actually took the emotional first aid kit, because each of the PowerPoints comes with a student handout and facilitator notes. So they took that handout and then they just cropped it and put it on a Google slide, and then had the students actually fill out their emotional first aid kit as an assignment. So every single student in their school created this piece right here. And then they also, as another piece, they actually made a video to go along with the curriculum. So the counselors actually made this as a follow-up piece. So it's just an 8-minute video where they just are explaining what they do. So the counselors are talking about that first aid kit is what they how they created that, to be able to, again, have that connection.
Yeah, and one of our student interns created this video, and it's about different breathing exercises that you can do when you're feeling anxious. And we put this up on our social media, but this is a great example of something that you could have your students do. So if you have a student who, let's say, class president, you could ask them to make this video, post it up on the leadership social media, post it up on the school social media, and then students could then share this and try it out in their classes or at home as well too.
And I know what a lot of students, and why we think that's important is, even though Ashni did it for us, it needs to be someone from your school or in your community that can then be able to put it up. And then you're putting up either, like she said, like from social media or Google Classroom, or even throw in an email. All those kind of different things is so important, because again, 5 out of 5 people have mental health, and we need to start talking about it more. And it shouldn't just be the counselors and the health teachers.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes from your peers, students are going to listen more. So it's great when you can have somebody who a lot of people know or is influential in the school do those types of videos. This is another example of something that we put up on our social media. And so this is about depression and anxiety, and it shows the social signs of it, self-care, and resources. And students right now, we love being educated, and we love being educated in simple ways on social media. So this is a great thing that students can post on their Instagram story and reshare with their friends. And if you are active on Instagram, you'll see so many students right now. This is where we're finding a lot of our educational resources. And so it's super important that we're talking about anxiety and depression on there. Also, I'm going to drop the link again for the Work to Be Well website for anyone that may need it.
And both of these are on the Work to Be Well website as free resources. If you look, the one on the left is actually a handout, but it also is a perfect size for you to put up on the story. If you're not a big on Instagram, I will tell you this is where students are at now. But this is, actually, let me switch over to YouCANHELP. This is your story. Oops, the circular part is the story. So if you click on that, that's your story. So that would be where the long one goes. And then this is your feed. So if you notice, the one on the right is for your feed. So that would go in here. So it's just still kind of queuing up. And what's nice is we have in our highlights, we actually put these up there too. So it's easy for you to screenshot and for you to share on your sites. And then this is another one that a school did to kind of do the polls. So they did a yes or no. They made it so it was interactive. So students then, after they got done with the ECPR one, they went on there and asked, do you know how to respond to an emotional health crisis, yes or no? So they did that as a poll to be able to get the students to be engaged and interactive after they had that lesson that day. So our curriculum actually was recognized by what's called the 100. It's an international organization that is towards educators. So why our lessons are so interactive is because they are engaging They are meant to be peer-to-peer. They're 10 or 15 minutes long, and then we truly have made them with the help of students to be able to kind of have that. So this is kind of what it looks like. They're broken down objective materials, super easy, very engaging, the discussion questions. So we're actually going to show off one of the lessons right now. So you can see how this is here, and these are the questions, but we're actually going to go to the next slide so you can see it. And this is the discussion questions. We'll come back to that slide. But here's Mallory and I, picture of us. So play along with us for this activity. So you're going to drop in just M for, you don't have to type in Mallory, you can just type in M for Mallory and K for Kim. So first question, but if you did this with your students, if you're having to still do distance learning, you can even use the reactions. So hand wave or the thumbs up, but because it's hard to do. So either way. Drop in the chat either M or K, or you can use your hand reactions if you'd like to. Vote for who do you think is taller? Who do you think is taller? Do you think it's Mallory? Do you think it's Kim? Go ahead and vote for us now. Drop it in the chat, M or K. Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're getting a lot of hits.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Awesome, awesome. Great. Thank you so much for all participating. This is awesome. Wonderful. All right, I think you're winning, Kim. All right, next, who do you think is more athletic, Kim or Mal? M or K? Oh, it's blowing up. This is great.
Oh, it's kind of tied there on that one. I like it. I like it. All right, next one. This one's, I love this question. We're both wearing the same I Can Help t-shirt. So who wore it best? Who wore it best? This is my favorite part of it, like Us magazines is always a who wore it best challenge. So, oh, Mallory's waiting on this one. Oh goodness, there it is. Who wore it best? Oh, both. Okay, all right. There we go. Oh, I'm coming in for the slide. There it is. I like it.
Love it, love it. Awesome. All right, and last one, this is where students are definitely going to start thinking about the curriculum, is who is hotter, Kim or Mal? We're getting lots of both, Kim.
All right, so then we're going to go back to the questions. And we purposely, some people always get, trust me, we purposely wanted you to get a little awkward on that last one. That's the whole point of it. So, because that is what students are doing online. They're voting. They're using the poll systems. They're voting. It starts off all fun and cute. And sometimes it is fun, right? Who is taller? I am taller than Mallory, right? But it's supposed to start off fun, but then once it progresses, it always turns sometimes pretty evil and sometimes bad. So it goes back, and then you go into discussion questions over on the right here, asking the two people who are being voted on, the class, Mallory, what did it feel like to get voted on right now?
It is so awkward, and I definitely would not want that on social media of me.
And it is, it's always like, okay, right, we can try to have fun with it at first, but then it does get, kind of definitely gets awkward. So, and then it's going back to you. What did it feel like having to have to vote? Did anyone want to comment on that? What did it feel like to have to vote for between the both of us, especially when we got to the more awkward question of who's hotter? Does anyone want to share in the chat what it felt like? And usually the teacher's like, that was really awkward. I did not want to have to vote on who's hotter between a child, she's 20, by the way, being a 20-year-old and so yeah, it gets really uncomfortable. Exactly. So then that's when those conversations comes out, like, and they then made it where, have you ever seen the rate bar on Instagram stories? What are some examples where they then talk about them, right? And again, we try to bridge this because some of you probably never even done that before. You've probably never even seen a poll, but this is what they're doing on their Instagram. This is what they're doing on their social media sites. Like my friends have never done a poll like on their sites, but I've seen students do it. So that's the difference, is what we are trying to do is, again, bridging that gap between students and adults, because it is such a different world. They're not the future, they're the right now. We need their help now more than ever. So they need to help us with this conversation because a lot of adults are not in this world. Perfect. Thanks for playing along. So then this is kind of our steps of what we say to how to handle things and how to be a digital first responder. is the first one is when they see something negative, they need to comment respectfully. That's the biggest step. They don't want to, if there's fire going on, you don't want to add more fire to it, right? Like it just makes it into something bigger. So always coming something respectfully, like something like, hey, that's not cool. That's not all right with me. You know, some kind of a simple way that you can say, this is not how I would do it.
Absolutely. And then what they're supposed to do is report anything inappropriate. So if that post is attacking them, if it's inappropriate in any way, if it's impersonating somebody, anything like that, they have to report it on the social media app itself.
Yeah. The next one is just informing students and adults to report. So going back to the story that Mallory shared before with Bailey, you saw that no one was making no one took a screenshot to tell Dylan, you know, hey, this isn't okay, or even turn into adults. They didn't let adults know this was going on. So again, teach them how to screenshot and bringing it to adults so that they can take care of it, right? So it's just those kind of conversations you need to have with them, to always screenshot anything if they need that kind of help.
Awesome. And then you want to combat any negative posts by posting positive. So we're trying to encourage students to use their digital resources for good and post positive content to create a positive atmosphere.
And then blocking inappropriate people and accounts. And this is something this age group also needs to be taught. They're using block as not an emergency signal. They're using it more as like a joke sometimes, like, oh, I'm mad at Mallory, so I'm just going to block her. And then I get my 5 friends to also block her. So now I've just isolated Mallory. So they're using it sometimes in the wrong kind of way. So you really have to teach them too that these are almost like calling, for us in the US, it's calling 911 for emergency. Teach them how to use it and when to use it correctly.
Absolutely. And then follow I Can Help to be inspired, and follow any accounts that you think are going to inspire you. Because the great thing about social media, especially when you are thinking about like your Instagram feed, for example, what you see is what you want to see. So you're only following the people that you want to follow. So if you log onto your Instagram and it's not making you feel good when you look at the post, definitely look at and evaluate who you're following, because you can go back and unfollow anything that's not making you feel happy and not making you improve your life in any way.
And that's totally digital wellness right there.
And I'm going to go ahead and
here's a perfect, yeah, there you go, perfect. And then here's a story that just to kind of show you how it works is we had a student that came to us with a situation. He said that during lunch, I guess this girl cheated on her boyfriend. When I say cheat, I always put that in quotes because cheating is such a different thing. It could have been she was talking to some guy and the boyfriend got jealous. Sometimes it is what it is. But no one ever knows of both sides of the story. So he then came to school, does what we call in the US, it's their promposals, where he's, asked her to go to this dance with her, does it on a big sign in front of everybody. But then he flips it, so it's so cute, but then he flips it over on the other side, it says psych, and then he has revealing pictures of the girl at school, like of the girl on his poster. What does that cue people do? It cues them to pull out their phone, start taking pictures, start taking videos, and start posting it up. And then Michael came to me saying like, hey, what do we do? My answer was, you have to respectfully comment. And I gave them some examples and I loved how he handled it. He said, childish for putting a girl on blast in front of a whole school for one mistake, nothing to applaud. They use the hashtag and help. You can see that the tweet is no longer available. The reason why, Michael then texted his friends asking them to do the exact same thing. So all these students started saying, my name is, I don't approve of this message. My name is, this is not okay with me. My name is, this is not how we treat people. So then they overpowered it to be able to get the student to take it down himself. It didn't need to take Twitter to take it down. The student was like, oh, this is not okay on our campus. So then they were able to take it down. So again, we're teaching them how to be that digital first responder in a respectful kind of way. All right, yes. Here, and then here's another one. This one's the group one. So go ahead and answer these questions for me in the chat. The color of this paper is what? So go ahead and drop in what color is this paper? See if you can get this answer right. Come on, educators. Oh, yes, good answer. Perfect, yep, there we go. All right, the color of snow. I don't know if in India, you probably have never seen snow maybe, but the color of snow is what color? Yes, good job. All right, we got some answers. The American flag, all right, this one might be, let's see if we can get this one right. The American flag is Blue, red, and what's the third color of the American flag? Anyone know? Yes, perfect, white. Yes, awesome. And then what do cows drink? What do cows drink? See if you can answer that one. What do cows drink? Milk. Oh, see, we got somebody. The correct answer, yes, is actually water. They don't drink milk, but power of suggestion, because I kept getting you to answer white, 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 your head wanted to go right to milk. So cows actually drink water. So that's exactly what happens on social media. So this is where that conversation comes into play. So that's where our discussion questions have. How does activity relate to the power of suggestion? How does it relate to trends online? When you're constantly seeing these trends, right now in the US, we're seeing these like canceled culture. So then that's what they're wanting to then do to each other. Since they're seeing this trend online, they're wanting to do that. So that's exactly where your mind goes. So perfect example is this photo. This is what I use to train to train students on. So I always ask them, pretend like you know this girl, you go to school with her, you follow her on social media, you have her cell phone number. I would never ask you to intervene if you don't feel comfortable, if it's not someone you don't know, right? Like I'm not expecting to be the internet police, right? Like that's not what this is about. This is truly about people you do know, people that are your peers. So you know this girl, she's in your friend group. First, what's wrong with the picture? And then how can you help? So kind of see if we can get any answers on that. But I will tell you that just for time purposes, here's what the answers are. The answer is she's holding red Solo cups. With red Solo cups, it represents alcohol that they're drinking, even though that could be apple juice in there. It could be, something other than alcohol, but because she's got red Solo cups, they reference that as alcohol. They also have the hashtag is turned up. So because it has turned up, they're thinking it's that she's at a party, and looks like she's at a party. She's even got a wristband. It's dark. So those are different things that they're seeing, right? The other thing that I've had students say, what's wrong with this picture, is they'll say her eyebrows. And right then people will laugh in class. Actually, when they do laugh, that's a great opportunity for a teachable moment. I'll stop the group and I'm like, oh, okay, so we're gonna laugh at this and we're gonna make fun of someone because of their eyebrows, something that they're born with. And what's been interesting is I've actually had students be like, I actually, don't have eyebrows because, certain reasons. So it's been really interesting to have that conversation of what have you been made fun of because of what you were born with. And then that conversation comes out. Is this okay? And when you laugh, you're giving it power, right? So we're teaching them that when you laugh, you're supporting it. When you like, when you subtweet, when you retweet, all those things are giving that picture power. You're giving that person and what they did power. So it's just showing them how to act. And then how can you help? The other thing is Maxwell posted it. So this girl she might not even know it's even posted about her. So then how can you help on that end? A lot of them said I would text her or DM her asking her, does she even know this is even up? I would ask Maxwell to take it down, either text him, DM him. Some said I wouldn't care. I would comment right on the picture. So again, that's their choice of comfort level. I'm not expecting anyone to comment because that's more public where people can see it. So it's walking them through the different situations of what they can do in these awkward situations. Some of them said I would screenshot it and show it to an adult. Others said you can actually report it because of underage drinking. Yes, you can report that picture because of underage drinking. It's alcohol and drugs is one of Instagram's policy. So just walking them through those different scenarios is definitely that first responder piece. And then walking them through the questions, right, of these different things. Mallory, you want to do this one?
Awesome. Yeah. So another example of an awkward situation that may occur at school and online is definitely when a group chat gets out of control. Comment in the chat if you ever had a group chat that made you uncomfortable or it was just awkward, out of control. There's so many things that you can do. One of the things is definitely leave the group chat. If it's on an iPhone, you can absolutely leave. If it's on GroupMe, anything like that. If you're feeling overwhelmed or if you're feeling anxious about any group chat you should be in, or you're in, you should definitely leave it. Mute the group chats. Let's say they're having a conversation that you're not interested in yourself, and it's just starting to feel overwhelmed. You can absolutely just turn off the notifications for it. And then if a group chat starts getting inappropriate or you just don't feel like the conversation is going well, you can definitely change the topic. So if it's something that's making you feel weird, definitely change it, make it positive. and then tell an adult or an educator if it becomes out of control and it's something that needs to be reported. And then text the person separately if somebody was targeted in it. So for example, if Bailey from school was in that group chat, you could text them separately and ask them how they're doing and what's going on. And also you can just put in a simple conversation, whether it might be everyone needs to calm down, or let's talk about something different, or throw in a positive conversation as well.
And then we just always have a blank one and we put a topic on there. So right now in the US, definitely the racial situation is so big that, hey, how would you handle it if someone posted some kind of racial comment? What was some ways that you would deal with it? So have them truly give you some examples so that they can talk about it and they can help each other out on how they would respond. And you can put in whatever scenario you have in there. No matter what grade level, every single student needs to start having these so you can walk them through these awkward, uncomfortable situations that they all need to be able to figure out how to deal with. Here's one that somebody did where, just to kind of show you kind of a little case, but someone put something up on Snapchat and totally was shouting out in a negative way about their admin, their principal at their school. And they didn't know how to deal with it. Like, everyone's saying bad things because he's like, join the movement. It was really horrible. And only a few students did it, but because it was like 5 students who wrote negative stuff, they thought every student was doing it. So we started talking about it, like, okay, how do we switch it from this negative thing that's going on your campus? How can we switch it to positive? So I loved how the students handled it. They started making these little cute little puns, and then started taking pictures, and people were putting them now on their Snapchat. So it completely changed their culture by people passing these out on their campus and getting people to kind of have that thing. So that's what we're teaching them to do, is just be a digital first responder and get people to switch the conversation. Again, the digital wellness, stop following the negative and start posting some positive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Another example of using digital for good this is Clementine. She was one of our interns and also was a digital for good winner. She was involved in a club at her school called This Club Saves Lives. During that time, she was volunteering at various community organizations, and she found out that 23% of California students who live in poverty can't afford tampons and miss up to 5 days of school each month because of their period. So what she wanted to do was she wanted to collect tampons in all of her classes to donate to students in her community. Now, her teachers felt a little bit uncomfortable about this, and didn't want to have a box in their rooms to collect these products. So after throwing up these tweets, Clementine then took it to her friends to try and collect them. So she actually was able to get boys to hold the tampon boxes, which made an awkward conversation a little bit more comfortable and fun to get students involved. And then teachers were interested in helping, and it blew up on social media for Tampon Tuesday. And she actually was able to tag Tampax and get it sponsored. So they sent in tampons for students in her community who needed them.
And then what's so cool is, like, there is so many cool digital pieces. So one of our Digital for Good winners was this group called Teenage Therapy. It's 5 students who literally made a podcast where they just talk on a podcast about mental health. And because of their work, it inspired Step Up to Speak Up, these 2 young ladies, to do their podcast. So this is exactly what students are doing, is they're using digital for good in so many amazing ways, and they're inspiring each other to use it in the right way. So it's just kind of this cool thing. What if you got some students at your school to start a podcast at your school? Right? There's so many neat ways. It's pretty easy to be able to make a podcast, low internet connection. Here's another one that they created, Find a Friend. So they just post this up. Hey, does Nino, fun fact, his dog knows how to say I love you. Everybody find him today. So this student wanted to get to know her classmates better. So then they would find him, they would take a picture of him and put it up on their Instagram story. So it's just a fun way students are connecting and be able to have that piece. They were still able to do this in quarantine. What they did was they would post a student, and then they would go to a social media page and take a picture from their page to show, like, another fact that they found out about them from their social.
Yeah, another way that students were able to create a positive online is the student Tamaya. She started posting positive quotes on her Instagram story every day, and her students found it very interesting, and her peers absolutely loved it. And she actually became a Digital for Good winner in Arizona. This is super simple, something any student could do if they wanted to make a positive change.
Yeah, and these are all the pieces that are in the Work to Be Well. Like, these are examples that we're trying to get people to do. So bingo box, you know, this or that, all these were made by students. And again, they're free up on the Work to Be Well site. That way you can have them there. It's just simple ways that we're trying to connect and bridge that piece together.
Awesome. So you can help join us by using your digital resources for good, so creating a positive change online, working to be well, so incorporating mental health resources into your online community. You're welcome to become a volunteer with us. We're always looking for volunteers in every way. So if you're interested, I did go ahead and drop all of our social links in the chat box, and then tag I Can Help and join us on Instagram and Facebook. We're trying to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram, so that way we can have linkable stories to be able to provide curriculum links in our Instagram for students who might need them. So definitely check us out on Instagram and join in on our I Can Help family.
All right. So I think now it is time for any questions. And I'm actually going to stop sharing because I do want to give you all a gift as well. So, and I am going to follow up. I'll follow up. I can't give the entire presentation, but I'm going to give, I'll email it to them to be able to share out. I'm going to be able to give out part of this presentation so that you can use it and inspire your students. But I do have, I can drop this link. This is, or I can share it really quick. Is there any questions? I don't know how you guys want to do this. All right. This is something that the students made. It was something that I saw and I wanted to be able to make it, but it's something easy whenever you bring when your students come into class. Let me make sure you get the copy. When the students come into class, you can show you what it is. You would have this up and then you would ask them, hey, first to last, what's your favorite thing? And then they actually can move this up. They can move these to where what their favorite things is from first to last. So again, it's a cute little way that you can get to know your students a little bit better. And when they're coming into your virtual classroom, if you're on distance learning. So that's just a gift that I'm going to be able to give to you from our family to yours. There you go. Any questions?
Thank you so much. I do have some questions with me, which I can begin to ask, but I also request all the viewers to kindly put in your questions in the chat window. And while we're discussing, we'll take some of those questions as well. So take a minute, everyone, to please type in any question that you may have in the chat window. So question that I have from the FB Live page is that what are some of the best practices around digital wellness for teachers, school leaders, as well as children across age groups? How can we make it a norm school-wide to sort of conduct some of these best practices?
Yeah, I mean, especially the digital wellness, I think you should be starting off every class. I highly suggest starting off with some kind of breathing exercise, right? Even if it's just the 5 breaths, everyone let's take 5 breaths, right? Get them to be able to teach them how to do that. I think that's such a valuable, I know time is always the big thing with teachers, right? They're always like, not enough time. But if you just take that time just to teach students how to breathe and get them relaxed and get them calm. Another teacher, they actually started doing even check-in words. Hey, how are you feeling right now? So I actually loved it. If you can drop in the comments, like, did this help, right? Like, it's kind of a validating piece is like, it helps me as a teacher. Did this help? And having validating questions on that is helping that digital wellness on check-in with them. Because you can usually tell by what their response is with one word. And that way you can check in with that person later on.
Thank you so much. Another question is around the fact that because of online study, there's a lot of depression among students now because they're not going to schools, there's no social interaction, and they're all learning only online. So how can we make sure that, that connect is still there with them, even though we don't see them directly, we don't meet them? How can we still have that emotional engagement with the students and help them overcome any stress that they're feeling?
Mallory, do you have any examples of what they're doing? Have you seen anything? I can jump in, but you tell me if you have.
Yeah, so I'm a college student right now, and we use an online platform for our classes. And in one of my classes, my professor actually does a weekly check-in, and it's nothing school related. It's just a check-in on your life. So it's where you can brag about something that you did that week, or you can talk about something that you're going through, or you can just post up that you're not doing well, maybe you need a check-in. And during that time, your professor can email you privately and check in with you. That's a really great way to make sure that your students are checking in with somebody and that they have somebody that they can go to. And if you see a student that's not responding very often, it could be that they do need somebody to reach out to them. So that's where you could send a private email to them to reach out. One way to keep students engaged and get students involved is definitely if you have a school social media account, you could do those Instagram stories like the emotional first aid kit, but also ones that are more about get to know you, where it's like your favorite color, it's your favorite TV show. I know everyone always bonds right now over what they're binge watching, things like that. You could create graphics like that students could screenshot and put in their information, and then you could reshare them so the students could connect with others who have similar responses.
And I see someone's like thinking here is how do you get, they don't want to share. Again, they don't want to be vulnerable. So what does it have to do? You have to be vulnerable first. Mm-hmm. You have to be vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, it allows them to have comfort and confidence to be vulnerable. So it is being able to share, hey, it's been difficult for me during this time because I live alone. And, I do live by myself. And so it has been very lonely. And there's been like times. So it's being vulnerable and sharing that, because when you do that, it opens up them the opportunity to then be able to share too.
Thank you for that. Another question is around how to encourage our students to make themselves a good digital leader. Many people have asked, can you give us more examples of digital leadership, and how can our students become these leaders?
Definitely recognize. Like whenever you do see something, recognize them as much as possible. And students love any kind of shout outs. So honestly, it can be even something simple, like if they did use something right, like taking, they love being able to get their stuff like shared. So it's like, hey, here's Mallory's Instagram, and to be a picture of like, I love what she posted. And even if you can, and Mallory loves being able to like share her at Mallory Barnesian, like she likes, so that she can get some kind of a, some kind of person would then follow her. They love any kind of recognition possible. So I've had teachers do simple things of like kings and queen of kindness. And they, jokingly say like, and they animate like a crown on top of a picture of the student for being kind online. And it can be because they handle the chat room so well. So it's recognize, because unfortunately, a lot of times when people are being negative, they think everyone's being negative. But the reality is there's more people who want to be positive, but we never recognize that, right? We never recognize the positive stuff. So recognize them as much as you can. Small trinkets, doesn't need to be something expensive. I'll look it up while Mallory asks the next question, but we have like a thing called the smile card. It simply says, I love your smile, pass it on. And it's just something easy you can print out, you can cut up, and you can hand it to them. You can digitally send it to them for doing something positive. They eat it up. They love any kind of simple, small thing. That's any kind of recognition. It's just, that's a token of appreciation is what you're doing.
Another question is around the age factor. Like, at what age should we start digital etiquette for children? When is the right time to start teaching them about all these things?
Well, I don't know about in India, but in the United States, there are students who have smartphones in kindergarten. So, and it's getting younger and younger. And a lot of times it's because they have divorced parents. That's the reason why they have it. But they're using these devices now all the way down like to 5 years old, 6 years old. So I think digital citizenship needs to be started even as young as you possibly can, whenever they're starting to see usage. But just definitely how you present it to them is definitely changing, and modeling it, right? You have to be model. We have to model it. If we don't want them addicted, we as adults need to put our phones down and model it as much as possible. And when you are modeling it, you have to say, hey, I'm putting my phone down right now because this is my time to have conversation with people. So as adults, we have to really model it, especially to the younger age groups, that we really want to have that. Hey, now's the time we're going to put our phone down because of this. So that's the big thing with that age group, that we have to model as much as possible.
Right.
Oh, so online, I'm seeing a question on here. I don't know if you want to go with it. I see like a lot of people are asking for some online tools.
Yes.
Yeah. So some of my favorites that I've seen people use, there's one called whiteboard.fx. And what that one is, it really is, you can, and this, I saw some math teacher in here earlier. So, so it's called whiteboard.fx. And basically what it is, it's kind of like where you can see all of the whiteboards. So you can put a math problem on the whiteboard, and then you, every student, you just have to send them a code. So it's very safe and secure. They're now in your class. You can now see all of the whiteboards. They can not only see their own. So you can truly, in real time, you can see them answer the math problem on that whiteboard. You can ask them a history question. They can answer the question, so you can see their answers and their thought process while you're doing it. So that one is one of my favorites. Have you heard of Flipgrid? Flipgrid's another one that is really, I think that one's really good. It's basically you have content on there, and then you go, the students then have to answer the questions with a small little video, and then you can respond back. Paradeck is another one, and I can follow up with an email with a few of these, but Paradeck is another one that is interactive slides, so that way the students can answer in an interactive kind of way.
Nice. Could you maybe type in these platforms in the chat window? Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely.
Also, we share a lot of these resources on our Facebook too. So if you follow us on Facebook, we're sharing a lot of online resources this upcoming week for a couple campaigns. So definitely go ahead and look at that soon too.
Yeah, it's on our Facebook page. We had some teachers that came on and they actually screen shared. They screen shared that piece.
Thank you so much. Another question is around the role of parents during this time. Do you also partner with parents to help some of the students? And how can we here also include parents in order to sort of solve some of the problems that some students may face?
Yeah, we actually, on our website, we actually have a free online safety course, is what it's called. It actually was a parent course, but we renamed it because we figured out like it wasn't just parents watching it, it was educators, because it's me plugging in my phone, it's walking them through what this looks like. So we figured that it's not just for parents, it's actually for educators, so they all can be on the same page. So it's a free course. I think it takes an hour to walk through it. It breaks down the course into small little pieces. So that's on our website right now. So it's called the online safety course. But we team up with parents. When we work with schools, we work with parents as well. They usually want us to do some kind of a parent education piece.
Thank you so much. A lot of teachers also want to understand how they can upgrade themselves digitally. They don't spend a lot of time on any of the social media platforms themselves and may be unaware of what exactly goes on. So they're wondering how can they also upgrade themselves in order to help their students.
I think you don't want to overwhelm yourself either, because I think a lot of people are getting overwhelmed. So honestly, find one of, like I just shared 3. Again, I didn't want to overwhelm you. So pick one of those 3 to go and do research on. Go on YouTube and look it up and see if you can find a 3-minute tutorial. See if it's something that you want to learn. But then once you learn that, then try to go to the next one, right? And see which one you can find out. But don't overwhelm yourself, because but it is 2020 and everyone's having to learn some new technology pieces. And I think that's good for us to, as educators, we should be continuous educate. We want to learn every year. And I think sometimes teachers get stuck and they're like, I don't want to learn something else, but you're expecting students to do it. We've got to expect to also grow and learn. So one thing at a time, and then be kind to yourself when you're learning these things, because it is challenging, it is hard. But then celebrate those small victories when you do learn something. I actually called Mallory the other night. She didn't answer, but I was so excited that I learned something on my own. I was like, yes, I learned something again. So, because I want to celebrate these small victories, and I knew she'd been so proud of me that I learned it on my own.
Nice. Another question is around how we can better identify what our students are feeling when we are teaching them online. They may not always share what they're going through. So are there any gestures or body language cues that we can identify and sort of figure out that they're going through something emotionally and help them out?
Mallory, you want that one?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think totally depends on the class size. If you're doing Zoom classes, kind of like we are right now, and everyone has their camera on, if you notice certain changes about a student, let's say they're not getting put together like they normally do, or suddenly they're missing classes, or they don't have their camera on, things like that are definitely signs that maybe they might be going through something, or maybe they need that extra outreach. If they're not turning in assignments and they normally do, things like that, obviously just like in person. But I think the best way, especially when it's online, as I mentioned earlier, is definitely checking in with everyone. So even if you make it a normal thing at the beginning of the year, where you're sending out a weekly email, and all they have to respond is like a certain code, like a 1, 2, 3, or 4 on how they're feeling. And if you start at the beginning and everyone's starting off strong with 4s, then you're opening up the conversation and already opening up the community where a student feels like maybe once they're at a 2 or something, they could respond to that and let you know. So it's definitely about having a safe environment and open community where students can talk to you. If you only want them to come to you when they're not feeling great or when they're feeling anxious or depressed, they're not going to come to you. They want to be able to come to you at any time. So if you start off a conversation when they're already doing well, then you already have the relationship going where they feel like they can come to you when they're not having a great time as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Another question is around the safety of the students. While we are online and teaching them, it's one thing, but then once we end the class, they still have some amount of time that they spend online, and it's increased now because of the fact that they're not going to schools. Is there anything else that we can do to promote cyber safety and digital safety for the students?
Again, I think it's just conversation, and it really is just encouragement, that kind of a piece, and talking about it. The big thing, make it a game. I don't know if, like with iPhones, you can actually have them show their screen time, and that's always fun. They can show, and if they don't have that, like it's just have them count how many times they unlock their phone is another kind of a fun contest that you can do. So I make them go into if they have an iPhone, we just have a contest and we go, okay, who's got the most screen time? Who's got the least screen time? And it's not I'm not trying to shame anyone at all, right? We're just doing it. And then it's like, how can we, let's check in our digital wellness. Now that you saw what your screen time is, like what's mine right now, looking at what mine is. So I'm at 5 hours and 46 minutes right now. So, and then I actually have them show it off, right? They pull, and then it makes them turn their cameras, because a lot of students don't want to turn their cameras on. So it makes them turn their cameras on and then show it off. And like, then it's the conversation of like, how can we get that time down? Because we're spending so much time online now. What can we do differently? Some of them are like, well, I actually go to sleep every night watching a movie, on Netflix, since that's why my hours are up. I'm like, okay, that's that, like, again, you want to hear what their stories are, and as long as you have an open conversation and it's not making them feel bad about it, like, then that's when good conversations come out of it, and they know how to problem solve. And again, if you put that, we need you to be part of the solution here. What can we do to each other, right? How can we help each other? And that's when the real answers will come out. Mallory might give the best suggestion. I mean, Mallory, you're having to be online, so what are some things you're doing to kind of balance that? Unmute yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm a journalism major, and one of my professors actually last year did a screen time tracker. So we had a big spreadsheet and all of us had to submit our screen time weekly, and it was really fun, but it was super competitive because we all wanted to get our screen time down. Especially as journalism majors, most of us were using our phones for work. So I know I use mine all day long for I Can Help stuff. But that's a great way to get students involved, and you can even do like an incentive. Like let's say the person with the lowest screen time might get like a couple extra credit points, or they might get to go to a mentorship seminar or something like that. But it's just a great way to get students to have those conversations and talk about screen time, because students don't realize how much they're using their phone until they physically have to see it every single day. So definitely encourage them to look at that for sure. Also, Kim, I know somebody asked if we're doing another webinar, and our curriculum information is on our website. But we do have a curriculum or a webinar for I Can Help coming up as well. So I'll drop that website link in the chat.
Yeah, we're doing a webinar with students, a student of panels, because September is Suicide Prevention Month. So right now we have the form is open for students to come and share their ideas of what they're doing in their community to have talks about suicide prevention, or how are they building their community in the time right now with still distance learning with most schools or hybrid.
Thank you so much. We're left with only 2 minutes in this webinar, so we'll end the questions for now. Thank you so much, Kim and Mallory, for being generous with your time and expertise today. I request both of you to kindly share your thoughts on the webinar today.
Ooh, 4. Yay, yep, that's free for you to use, so I love it. So we want you to use that. Use that emotional first aid kit.
Hello? Mallory, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I just said make sure you're using the emotional first aid kit.
Okay. And Kim, would you like to share a few words on the webinar?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were waiting for these people. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you got something out of it. Like I said, our goal was for you to see it live, how we speak, how we talk, show the lessons, and I'll make sure these are all things I'm hoping you can be able to take back and use with your students. Again, mental health is a real thing. 1 in 5 students have a mental health issue, and I think that's increasing with where we're at, but 5 out of 5 need to be talking about mental health. So let's go. We need to do this together. We're powerful together.
Thank you. To reach out to our speakers, please write to them at kim@icanhelpdeletenegativity.org. Please indicate the subject line connection to Firki webinar. This information will be pasted on the chat window shortly. Our next webinar is with 3-to-1 Scape, Innovative Learning Solution for Teachers and Students During the Pandemic, scheduled for August 31st at 3 p.m. You can register for the same through the link that will be pasted in the chat window now. Before you leave, please take a minute to give us feedback on your learning experience on the webinar. This helps us grow and improve our resources for you. Also, once you fill the feedback form, you will be receiving the attendance certificate like mentioned in the beginning of the webinar. Please follow at Firki Portal on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for more updates. Thank you so much and have a very good evening, all of you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming.